Hi, guys, and welcome to Reality with T. Thank you for joining me in the 90 Day Fiance the Other Way recap and review. So this is gonna be pretty short. You know, these couples are pretty quick. Luckily, they don't drag it out 2 hours for us like they do the other 90 Day Fiance show. So I'm gonna start with Devin and Jihoon. They start out with Drusilla playing with a centipede. Now, if we remember from the episode when Devin and her mom were in the fair, not a fair, what was it, in the flea market or what have you, Drusilla wanted a dead fish for whatever reason. All these little things she's doing is, I think, a precursor for what's to come. Just keep that in your mind, okay? So they're going to the new apartment. They're going to see the apartment that Devin and Jihoon picked out because the old apartment was in a bad neighborhood and it was horrible and all that stuff. So the mother loves this apartment. She loves the neighborhood, and she ends up saying, like, I do like this place, and this just pretty much seals the deal that Devin is going to be staying here with Jihoon. And she was like, I know it's selfish of me, but I guess she wanted to make it so bad that her daughter would come home and she would have her grandkids with her. So, it's understandable. And it's funny. I like that she's honest about it. So the baby, I made a note. The baby is so cute. He's adorable. He has like the cutest little butterball head, and he's bald. And I love bald babies. I miss my daughter's hair fell out when she was about 2 months old, and now I'm like, oh my god, I miss my bald baby. So he's adorable to me. So the mom, she agrees. She's talking. They show her a scene where she is talking with Jihoon's mom and dad. They're out at the playground. She's saying, I just wanted a place for Drusilla to be able to play, which is, I take my daughter all over the city to play. Like, she doesn't have to play. There's a small playground right outside of my building, which is fine, but I also take her to other places. So just because there wasn't one right there doesn't mean that she would not have ever been able to play anywhere. That's a little dramatic, but whatever. They have a nice playground where they live. She's talking to the other parents, and she's pretty much saying, I just wanted him to step up. I want to see him put in as much effort into the relationship as I see my daughter Jihoon, Devin, putting into the relationship. So, his mother actually agrees with her. She says, I agree. And they both say, we would like to see him step up. And Jihoon says, put it all on me. It's all my fault. It has nothing to do with my parents. This was all my fault, but I am going to step up. And then, Devin finally steps in at the end and says, now we need both grandparents, all the grandparents, to step back and allow us to do this. Let's allow Jihoon to step up and be the man he's saying he's going to be. So you guys back off. And I think both mothers say, fine, that's what we wanted. So, they give him some encouragement. So as they're getting up to leave, it's dark outside. They're about to leave the playground and take the kids back upstairs. That's exactly what the mother said to Jihoon and Devin. Take the kids upstairs. Drusilla literally just runs off somewhere. I don't know why. We don't know where she went. All you see is them screaming, and then Jihoon kind of sprints behind her. Because this is what happened. When they were walking off, Jihoon, you see him grab the little girl Drusilla. She's upside down. She has on a dress. Her legs are flying and flailing in the air, and he's trying to get her to calm down. There are people on the street looking. Like, I guess it was just like a weird scene, and then all of a sudden you see her run off. So now we're going to have to wait till next week to see, because the mother is like, I'm completely done with him. You see Jihoon crying. You see Devin crying. And it's this whole big thing. So hopefully Drusilla is okay. And this is just an over dramatic thing, but we'll see what happens with them. Okay. Next we have Ken and Armando. So basically Ken has been planning to propose to Armando. So even though it's his first week there, he told Armando, I'm going to head to the bank. I want to go by myself. But really, he was going to the hotel to see his two daughters who flew in to be there for the engagement. So Armando has no idea. Ken has a ring. And, his daughters are there to support him. They're very excited for him. I think they might have said maybe it was a little too soon because he just got there. But Ken is completely smitten. He said, I'm in love. There's no need to wait. I want this to happen. I've never loved anybody as much as I love Armando. So I want this to happen as soon as possible, right? So they go to a restaurant. I believe they've been to the restaurant before, and he says, let's go take some pictures over by the rocks. The whole thing was a surprise. He gets on one knee. It was beautiful. He proposes. Armando, of course, says yes. And then they look up at the top of the cliff and they see his two daughters, and I guess some folks from the restaurant. They throw down confetti and they're cheering and clapping, and it's a beautiful moment. And I think Armando's probably swept off his feet. So at the end, he gets to meet with Ken's daughters. I think it was their first time meeting him, and everybody's happy. So it seems like it seems like it'll be a nice love story. Okay, now we have Tim and Melissa. Now, again, I think that this is a story that they're kind of dragging. They kind of annoy me a bit. But Ken feels like, and he has to tell Melissa's dad that he cheated on Melissa. And I guess because he feels like he's going to hear it from Melissa's mother, because they haven't told dad yet. So he says it's the best way for me to maintain or get or keep his respect is to tell him before he hears it from everybody else that I cheated on his daughter. So and he really wants his respect. So they go to dinner or something like that, and he ends up telling, Melissa translates, he ends up telling her dad that there was an infidelity in the past, and the dad is very upset, and he pretty much says that my advice would be for you guys to break up. There's no reason for you guys to stay together. So my thing is, who are you to tell somebody that they should break up? Like, are you perfect? Has he not had any indiscretion, even if it isn't cheating? Like, nobody's perfect here. I just feel like they are dragging Tim through the mud over this. And it's almost like, then let him go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my thing is either leave or don't keep beating him in the head with it. You know what I mean? Actually, I heard one of the other bloggers say that, and it reminded me of my friend Tammy. She used to always be like, oh my goodness, like, just stop beating me over the head with it. If you are done with it, if you're over him and you cannot move past it, leave him. You guys go find two other people. But first it was you. Now, even though it's a year later, you're still coming with this resting bitch face every time he speaks to you. And then you have her mother who's saying, I absolutely don't think I'll ever forgive you. You guys need to break up. Now you have the father. You guys need to break up. I just feel like, whatever happened to forgiveness, like, he's a human being. He is coming to you, telling you exactly what happened over and over and over again. He's repeatedly apologizing. He's crying all over the place. I mean, what else is he supposed to do? Then let him go. Why drag him through this? He actually moved his entire life, well, most of it, because I think he still kept his job in his place. But he's moving to Colombia to be with her. So I don't know. We'll see where this goes. But the good thing about it was, in the end, she says to the cameras, not to her dad, she says, my dad said this, but I am an adult, so I have to make my own decision. And I guess she's going to see if Tim can prove himself, because she does love him. We'll see where that goes. And then lastly, we have Brittany and Yazan. They're in Jordan. So, she begins the episode saying that she wants to, and she's always said, I want to learn the culture. I want to learn Islam. But they were trying to force it on her. So you see her in the beginning, she has on the hijab, she goes to the mosque, she goes through the ritual of whatever the women have to do as far as praying, and he was on the male side. And then afterwards he shows her, I'm going to show you how to pray, I'm going to show you how to wash, because before you even enter the mosque, I know the women, they wash their face a few times, they wash their hands, their feet. So he shows her how to do this, and they had a good time doing that. And she's actually said, spending the day with him, and she said, before she came there, she identified as a spiritual person, but she didn't identify with any specific religion. But she said she did feel peaceful. She did feel closer to God after spending this day with him. So to me, I mean, that's a baby step. Mind you, she's only been there about 3 or 4 days. So that's a huge step. You know what I mean? That means she's open to it. But you have to let her grow into it, allow her to come to it, instead of trying to force it on her. So, and that's what she's saying. So, a few days later, and so she enjoyed the day, they're getting along great, and she is open to learning Islam. So, a few days later, though, he comes and sits down with her at a restaurant, and he basically says, his parents do want to see her again, but she has 3 days to decide whether or not she's going to convert to Islam. And so she says, she keeps saying, you kept telling me you were not going to try to pressure me to do this. And what do you mean that you can only I have to be Muslim. And he's like, no, you don't have to be Muslim, but my wife does. So it's up to me when he says that. What I'm getting is that, like, when you marry me, you're a different person. Like, I don't know. That's just how it feels to me. Like, what do you mean? You're marrying me, I will be your wife. Like, you're acting like when I get married to you, I'm not going to be the same person. And that's a problem for me. so, so she says, he basically says to the cameras, you know, if she isn't going to convert to Islam, I just need to be able to move forward from this, because this basically has to happen for us to move forward. And it has to happen within a few days because my parents wouldn't answer, type of a thing, right? And so she says, like, you should have said this before I got here. As much as we talk, you never said that when I got here, I had to make a decision within 3 days to marry you and to convert to Islam. So, you know, he's asking her, well, have you been reading the Quran? And she's like, no. But at the same time, she's been here literally 3 days. And I think that what he is doing is way too much too fast. And it's only going to drive her away and send her right back on the plane back to America, which I think is going to happen anyway, but we'll see. Okay, so she says, you know, she is very upset. This is bullshit. You know, let me take some time away from the situation. So it was very mature of her, much more mature than the other folks that we see over here on those reality shows that just resort to violence. She gets up, she walks out, she takes her time. She tells the producers, listen, I'm leaving. I need a moment, because she said it got too hot and heavy, and I don't want it to get to a point of no return. Let me walk out. Then she comes back in and she tells them, I'm not here for the ultimatums. Okay, I'm open to it, but don't give me an ultimatum, you know. And then he basically tells the cameras, I'm under a lot of pressure from my family, you know. But he tells her in person, he says, listen, you can take as much time as you need. Take all the time you need. They do a pinky promise. She says it was weak, but we'll see. So supposedly he's not going to be pressuring her anymore. But he's caught in a rock and a hard place. Like he says, he loves her. And I think he loves her. I think that they're in love. But his family and, you know, his society is pressuring him to do it his way or no way, and do it quickly. So, you know, that makes him now pressure her. And I guess his thing is, if you want to marry me, why do we need to wait? But he also, you remember, she never even came out and told him yet that she's still married. So remember, she's lying all this time as well. So we'll see how this ends up. But I don't think it's going to be good when he and his parents find out. Okay, so thank you for watching. This is a quick review because, you know, that's only on for an hour. Like, subscribe, comment. Please subscribe. But I do appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on about 90 Day Fiance the other way. Okay, have a great week. See you next week. Bye-bye.